What is up, guys? Welcome back to yet another brand new episode of the Savant Life, and on this one we have the brand new and the slightly dusty Bajaj Pulsar NS160. This is the latest offering from the Bajaj stable, and it promises to create waves in the 150 to 160cc segment that is so hotly contested in India, and I for one cannot wait to get my hands on this and see what it really has to offer. As you can clearly make out on first glance, it shares the same kind of design pattern and inspiration as its older sibling, the NS200. Looks very, very similar to it. And even though that is great news for people who might be picking up this particular motorcycle, I think the ones who actually bought the NS200 might be a little disappointed, because a bike of this design is now going to get incredibly common on the roads. As you can see, it has the same kind of laser graphics. This is the metal grey version. There are a couple of other colors as well, most notably the red and the blue. Everything else is fairly standard. What you have over here at the back is a nitrox suspension in red, which actually looks pretty cool. The tail light is the traditional Pulsar design. This is the same kind of design that you see on the NS200 and even the Dominar. Now, of course, if you're truly buying this bike because it's a naked street bike, you would be getting rid of this, you'd be getting rid of all of this, and really getting in the tail tidy over there so that you can make the bike look as mean and as aggressive as it absolutely should. So with that being said, it's time for us to jump onto the NS160 and see if it manages to live up to all of the expectations. But before we do that, let's just quickly turn up the ignition and take a listen in to the exhaust note. Quite impressive. Alright guys, here is the NS160, and it's time. Oh wow, I love how light this bike is. Unbelievable. I remember coming over here to this very showroom and also taking the NS200 and the RS200 out for a spin, and those were much heavier bikes, whereas this just feels so good. It is so light, it is so zippy and refined. Let me open up the throttle a little bit. Oh wow, you see that? I love how maneuverable this bike is. It's just so smooth. It's just so smooth. Everything else, as you can make out from the dash, the shape of the tank and everything, is very, very much like the trademark NS200. And that is definitely a great thing. So if you're getting that kind of a package in a sub 1 lakh rupee range, I don't think there is much you can ask for. And this is a very interesting offering from Bajaj, because it really shakes things up as far as that hotly contested 150 160cc segment is concerned. Up until now, it was a triple threat between the Yamaha FZ, the Gixxer, and of course the Honda Hornet. And this offering from Bajaj is really going to set the cat amongst the pigeons and give all of those manufacturers some sleepless nights, because the Pulsar brand name is synonymous with trust and reliability and excitement in the Indian market, and I think this bike is going to take that up by a couple of notches, if not more. I just wish that I had a little more road in front of me so that I could really push this bike around and see what it has to offer. But you know, when you live inside the city, you've got to take the good with the bad. Let's dive into this lane over here on the left and see if we can have some fun. Alright, I really like this. This bike is so nimble, so agile. I'm in love with it. Absolutely, 100%. Ooh, there is the first thing that I didn't really like about that, and that is the braking. Not very surprised by it, because again, I don't know if I'm kind of overreacting to a certain extent, if it's a problem with this particular piece, or if the braking on the NS160 is a little weird. But when I tried to stop over there, it didn't really inspire too much of confidence in me. The front brake is practically non-existent, and that I'm pretty sure is an issue with this particular unit. But yeah, I think, you know, it would be a little too much to expect sure, definitive pinpoint precision as far as its braking is concerned, but I think it definitely could have been better than what it seems to be like. Alright, that girl did not know where she was going. And these people are just coming on the wrong side of the road, and I was going to overtake from the right. I'm glad I didn't, because, well, this is what happens on a Saturday when there's just way too many people on the road. You've got to be very, very careful. Another example, take a bow, sir. Oh, I love it, I love it. Squidding a little bit over there, squidding. The turning radius of this bike is really great as well, and that's a complaint that I've had, especially with the KTM Dukes. I think their turning radius is sort of messed up, but no such problems with this. This is very comparable, in fact much better than my FZ16, and that is saying a lot because I'm a Yamaha fanboy. There, by the way, is the elder sibling, the NS200, and that one in yellow looks just absolutely stunning. I think there are two bikes in which that yellow looks really great. One is the Continental GT Royal Enfield, and the other one is that NS200. There are very few people though that bought that yellow, hence once again proving that the Indian market doesn't really have great taste as far as eccentric colors on motorbikes are concerned. But anyways, coming back to this one is, as you can see, it's a little dirty, but you know, you can't complain too much about these kind of things. This is in that gunmetal gray. I think it looks really, really good. The other colors that you get are the blue and the red with black. But this is the one that you would most commonly see in other videos as well. And I have to say, out of the three, I think this one is my personal favorite. Let's hit a right turn over here. The mirrors need to be slightly adjusted, both on that end and this as well. Good wide range of view. And now that we have some great roads, let's go ahead and open up the throttle and also check out the suspension. That's pretty decent, much better than what I was actually expecting. And the gear shifting on this bike is another thing that I have to mention. I rode the Honda Hornet a couple of weeks back, and the gear shifting on that was extremely clunky, whereas this one is a treat. It's an absolute treat. It shifts so smoothly, you don't feel a thing, and you could just keep riding on it all day long. And that is saying quite a lot, because I'm not a Pulsar fanboy as such, so I'm being very objective when I review this bike. Some of you might be thinking that I'm just singing its praises all the way through, but believe me, so far this bike has me completely bowled over. For the price point at which Bajaj has launched this bike in the Indian market, I think they might have a winner on their hands, because this bike right here could be all yours for about 96 to 97,000 rupees. I think is an absolute steal, and it is really going to shake up that 150 to 160cc segment. Now let's talk about the dimensions of the bike a little bit. This is one of the heavier models in that segment. The lightest, of course, is the Yamaha FZ, which I ride, the older generation, but even the newer one is extremely light. The heaviest so far was the Honda Hornet at about 140 kgs, but this one is a good 2 kgs heavier, but surprisingly it doesn't feel heavy at all, because like I said, I rode the Honda Hornet recently, and compared to that, this one feels much lighter, even though it's not. And that speaks a lot about the aerodynamics of the bike. And the riding posture is extremely comfortable. You feel like you're riding something that is completely under your control. It is peppy, it is zingy, it is extremely responsive, and it also goes over humps pretty smoothly. The seat height also is very comfortable, so if you're an average heighted rider, or if you're on the shorter side, it should not be an issue at all whatsoever. Whereas I cannot say the same of, let's say, the Duke 250 or the Duke 390. Even though those bikes are in a different segment, they're not that well suited for average heighted Indian riders who might be around 5'6" or 5'7". I myself am about 5'11", and in spite of that, I don't find this bike to be cramped. I find it to be really comfortable, and this guy seems to be in a world of his own. Yeah, check out the rear view mirror. A little too late, buddy boy. And when we're going up on an incline as well, it climbs the roads really deftly, I have to say. Very impressed so far by the NS200's younger sibling, which comes with a single-cylinder oil-cooled DTSI 160cc engine. Now, of course, this gets the twin spark, unlike the triple spark, which comes with the NS200. But hey, as far as I'm riding, those are all probably technical nitty-gritties. could not really make out much of a difference. In fact, I like how peppy and responsive this engine is. The whole look and feel of the handle and the dashboard is quite nice. It has those backlit buttons, which have pretty much become synonymous with the Pulsar range. And again, that is something that you don't get with a lot of premium bikes, so kudos to Bajaj for offering that. And again, I love how easy it is to turn this bike around. It's beautiful. Let's try to squeeze it into this tight space, and as you can see, a lot of heavier bikes would have struggled on that front, but no such problems with this. In fact, if this was my own bike, I would have actually threaded it through that sharp space that we had over here. But let's not get carried away and get a little too adventurous, because you know, ultimately you have to be careful and you have to return back something that you found in its original condition, if not better. Alright, so that's about it. If you found this video useful, then make sure that you hit that like button. If you have any questions, drop them for me in the comment section below. And if this is your first time around at the Savant Life, then make sure that you hit that subscribe button and click on the bell icon so that you can be notified when I put out more new videos. I will see you in the next one. Until then, thank you so much for watching. Take care, and as always, ride safe.